You're listening to the Ballet Piano Podcast, lifting the lid on dance accompaniment.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to this episode of the Ballet Piano Podcast. My name is Chris Hobson, and around the table with me is Akiko Hobson.
Hello.
Matt Gregory.
Hello, listeners.
And David Yeo.
Hi, everybody.
Right, listeners and viewers, in this episode, we've got a treat for you. Well, I hope it's a treat. We're going to be talking about how we keep our work fresh. Now, I've been a ballet pianist for over 2 decades. Matt and Akiko are coming up for 2 decades, and David's been involved in ballet for about 7 decades.
David taught the first ever ballet class.
He was, yeah. I mean, David was balleting in the womb, wasn't he?
Didn't David teach de Valois? Just kidding, David.
Let's go there, please.
So, sorry, David. This is like David's roast, isn't it? But after all this time, you've still got to keep everything fresh, haven't you? Because you don't want to get old hat. Now, I used to say when I first started in this profession, in year something or other, that I would stop when the dancers didn't know the music I was playing. I've changed this now because we have the mortgage to pay, which is I will now stop and leave this profession when the dance teachers don't know what I'm playing, and then I'll find another excuse to hang around for about another 15 years. But you don't want to get stale.
I do find that more and more, though. The tunes that I play, the dancers have no clue.
idea.
Yeah.
I'll play this gorgeous Robbie Williams song from early noughties, and only the teacher will know it.
Oh, my.
You know, and some dancers, but people just don't know.
Yeah, not now.
Music
It's
of
the
the last
teachers who
20
like
years.
you
Yeah.
know.
It keeps us going, though. It really
The
does.
teachers know
Love
everything,
it.
but not always the dancers.
Yeah.
But there are ways of keeping things fresh. And we were discussing this earlier on in the week, Matt, Akiko and I, which is you don't necessarily have to play a tune in the same way each time. Now, we've referenced this a little bit when we first started in the class series, but there are many different ways of playing stuff. You can play it in different keys, you can play it in different feels, you can play it on different time signatures and different tempos. So this is a surprise for David. Look at his face. There you go. So we've got some examples of what we play.
Because I said this to you, when I first started playing for class and I had a handful of tunes, that's the first thing I did was to mix it up just to make my repertoire, 2-3 times bigger.
Yeah.
Because before you build all your tunes.
Yeah, so learn how to put an adage on that's written on 4 onto a 3,
Exactly.
an aria that's in a 3, put it onto a 4.
Yeah. That's
Lob out
brilliant.
the odd phrases here and there.
really did that early on.
And you no longer remember the original piece.
Oh, exactly.
When you can't remember, but we said this. I think I'm quoting myself now. When you go, oh, God, those 2 bars that no ballet pianist ever plays, and that
Yes.
actually makes the tune so beautiful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But right, the first tune we're gonna play for you is "I Got Rhythm." We're gonna hear 3 different versions by 3 different pianists. Version number 1.
That was very hard to play with no dancers and no teachers and having to keep my own metronome and try and think of the exercise that I'm playing it for.
It's weird to play ballet in my living room, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
Version number 2. What no ballet pianist can do is you can ask for anything more.
Exactly.
Who can ask for anything because you cannot have any more.
You
square.
can do the actual ending if they want like 8 extra counts or something. You
It
could
sticks
fudge
it into a balance, but no.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, let's have the last version. That was version 3. David, do you know which order? Who was playing what? Who was playing number 1, number 2, and number 3?
Well, man,
I
you said
gave
you're-
it away.
Yes, you're
Gave
playing
it away.
one. Is it Akiko playing 2?
Akiko on 2 and me on 3.
Yeah, or was it the other way around?
Other way around.
It's stop time that gets me. I love stop time.
You had a
That's-
big smile on.
That's
Yeah.
my thing that I do when I play that for a centre tondo, that middle section.
I like
if you
it.
play it on the offbeat, and
Yes,
you know
it's
they're
brilliant.
coming in on the 1 and out on the and, you know, nice and quiet as well.
Yeah.
It keeps everyone in time.
Absolutely.
It's a good way of
I'd never
listening.
thought of playing it in the way that Matt plays it, which is you could use it for a tondo.
yeah.
For those of you who can just now hear Hazel saying bubble, she's a little bit sick today and she's just joined us around the table because Joshua's struggling to look after his little sister in his bedroom, so she might interfere a little bit.
Well, she might have some opinion about it.
Yeah. But she doesn't like David, so she might be quiet.
Yes.
She's in the smallest minority in the world.
Oh, bless.
So yeah, so that was a couple of different ways of playing I Got Rhythm. Akiko's and I's, I think, were quite similar. You could sort of use, I think both of us did a like little Petit Allegro style.
Yeah.
with that.
Akiko's is the Lang Lang version of I Got Rhythm. All those fancy twiddles and extra notes.
Mine's the easy piano version.
No, it's not.
But we all did
Please.
with take one, didn't we?
Oh yeah, that's what we should have said before we started. All these were all one take wonders.
Yeah.
Well, near
I
as
think
down
mine
there.
was 2 or 3
It
takes.
wasn't. You might. Yeah, you got 2 bars into it. You're, I'm going to start again. But that was. So, I Got Rhythm, pretty standard. I think 99% of ballet pianists play this tune, don't they?
I think with 2/4s like that as well, you can slow them down into something a bit more swingy and a bit more laid back. That would work for a tondo.
I'm going to try that the next ballet class I play. I'm going to try and nick your I Got Rhythm tondo.
No, you can. Something like A String of Pearls is at Duke Ellington.
Yes.
I play that for a tondo, but then I really quick it up for jumps as well. I think with 2/4s you can do that.
Yeah.
You know,
And the variety as well of the exercise, like you said, just by altering the tempo from a tondo to a jump or a Petit Allegro.
yeah.
You've already increased that one tune for 3 or 4 different exercises in the
Yeah,
bar.
you just have to make sure that you don't play the same tune with a different time signature later on the class. You just have to remember which tune you actually played.
Kiko, get on mic.
Oh, sorry.
There we go. Right. The next tune we thought of is one that's thankfully out of copyright for this one, and it's Danny Boy.
Oh. Love that.
Milky ending.
Milky end.
Milky ending.
Love it.
So that was Danny Boy on a 4/4 in A major. Here it is in a different key on a different time signature by a different pianist. I feel like I'm on the radio.
Those lovely plagal cadences at the end.
Beautiful.
Very churchy.
We'll get on to churchy in another
Yes,
episode.
we
With
will.
the ending, yeah.
Okay, and finally, the third version.
I do that on in adages as well.
Nice.
So Danny Boy had a 4 or a 3. It doesn't matter, does it? I think you heard from there.
Yeah.
I think that every example there was beautiful, but
Yes.
the first one was the best.
yours was a reharmonization.
Mine was my GCSE arrangements back in the year.
2002.
No, it wasn't. I did mine 3. It was in 1999. I did my music GCSE.
Oh, early.
Yeah. Was it 98?
The
I can't
only
remember. It doesn't matter.
The only
It was in the
GCSE
90s.
you just passed, yeah.
Yes. That and music technology.
How did you not? Like, you knew it immediately, no?
Yeah.
All the pieces who
Yeah.
played.
Yeah. You have a very distinct way of playing, but in the last tune when you stop time is usually Chris. So that was what confused me. But yeah, usually you can tell.
Yeah. So for something
Very
like,
odd.
for something like Danny Boy or anything like that, you can use it for a plethora of things. Like you can use it for plie, you can use it for baradage, you could use it for centre port de bras, you could use it for
Rondon.
centre.
Rondon.
Yeah.
I've actually
Yeah.
played that for pirouettes.
Oh, really?
Because and I do this sometimes. I'll use my adages for something like pirouettes because sometimes they want a really slow, drawn out pirouette.
Yeah,
right.
So if I just add a little bit more accent, then an adage tune would work for a slower pirouette. Yeah.
I don't do that. That's a great idea.
I play the Handel Saraband sometimes for pirouettes.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
if the men want a really
Yeah.
slow pirouette with lots of big open turns, sometimes like the Saraband works.
Because you can give it the time as well.
Yeah,
Who wants to
a
listen
little
to
bit
Matt?
more, a little bit more sped up,
Yeah.
but not as written, a little bit quicker. But yeah, not far off it.
Okay, listeners, if you want to hear Matt do the Saraband in a pirouette style. Check out the socials because that's going to be on there.
I also play that saraband as a polonaise because it's really slow and drawn out. Anyway, that's me repurposing that tune.
But you can repurpose anything. I think this is the point of this episode, isn't it? 'Cause
I've also played that saraband in a 2/4 and a 4/4. I told you in the early days I had no repertoire. I just had to get inventive.
So you have like 5 or 6 rep out of one tune.
I can use repurposed tunes a lot, yeah.
Can you play the saraband as a coda?
I mean, it's possible. It's totally possible, isn't it? It really is. But this, I think what we all agreed on as well is when you repurpose a tune, it's all about your taste level.
Yeah.
You know, if it becomes, sacrilegious or whatever, and it just becomes nothing like the original tune or the original feel, if it becomes so warped, then I think you really should
move on.
Yeah, try something else.
Or improvise.
Or improvise. So I think when you're repurposing or butchering music, I think it comes down to taste level, doesn't it?
And I've got 0.
So talking about recycling the tune, or how did you say it, Matt?
Repurposing,
yeah.
Upcycling.
I don't know. I have a funny story I heard from one of the ballet teacher many years ago.
Yeah.
He was guesting somewhere, apparently in Japan, many years ago. And he had this pianist, I presume Japanese pianist somewhere in ballet school. And this pianist started off warm up, whatever, 3 or 4, whatever, with the sound of music. Da, 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 da. And it was just nice for warm up. And then he said that plie, and then the pianist played the same tune in 3/4. For plie. And then he said the tondu, and it was the same tune. And apparently, from the beginning, like first 4 exercise was with the same melody, with a different time signature. And then after 4, 5, he said to the pianist, "Thank you very much. I've got my own CD." He said, "I didn't want to hear this until Grand Allegro."
I mean, that really is repurposing, isn't it?
Yeah.
David, you wouldn't be happy with that.
No, a couple of eyebrows might be raised.
But teachers must repurpose in some ways their exercises as well. Because we've all seen it. Like students, teachers, pianists, we all know, okay, Tondo, okay, right, we're going to do that on a glissé. Okay, the same thing on a jeté.
Yes. Yeah. I've done that. I've made a tondu go all the way up to Grand Batman. Yeah.
Wow.
You lazy sod.
You mean the same setting but at different heights?
Setting,
and things?
different tempos, different time signatures.
Oh yeah.
Different heights.
Yeah.
And it's a really good study in the movement quality of what you're doing.
It's a very good training exercise, I suppose. Yeah.
And also, I mean, for dancers, I mean, we have the other alternative is that we can reverse everything. So as a pianist, you can't do that.
No, we can't play our repertoire backwards, can we?
What do you do?
Have you ever tried playing your repertoire backwards, Matt?
No.
I don't do many things backwards. Right. Before Hazel completely hijacks the rest of the episode, let's go in for the final tune, which is I Could Have Danced All Night.
Oh.
Now, you've got 3, I think, quite different versions of this coming up. So let's see if David can identify the pianists, or if we give it away, which we probably will. That reminds me very much of the Havana scene from Guys and Dolls.
Absolutely.
Which may or may not still be on at the Bridge Theatre in London, but it was fantastic. Version number 2. Something more Grand Allegro-y.
I think David knows.
That was a giveaway at the end, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right, so you had Akiko's first, which, what exercise do you play that for? Like that?
Jump in
Yeah.
the center.
What rhythm or feel or style would you call that?
I don't know.
It's Latin. It sounds
Yeah.
Latin, doesn't it?
Just generic Latin.
Yeah.
I love it.
I like.
Brilliant.
No, I said Grand Allegri for yours, Matt. It's not really Grand Allegri, is it? I think like
I've
pirouette,
played it-
but you can play it
I've
for...
played it for both.
You can do Grand
Yeah.
Allegros, you can play whatever with that. You
Yeah,
can,
I think I've played that for an adage as well.
you can pull it out, push it in. It's really...
Exactly.
It goes, you just heard there from the 3 examples. It's one of those tunes that's so versatile that you can do anything with it.
And in your coda as well, I said to you, you can actually, take twice as long to play that melody in the same feel because that's how it's written in the show.
It is.
But you've obviously brought the melody closer
I
together.
went for the Broadway seal. So when I was doing that recording the other day, I was thinking along the lines of a frappe.
Yeah.
I was thinking, so in my head, I was playing for a frappe exercise. Like if I played the melody as it is in the show, in the original song, it's not got that coda urgent feel to it.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if you take sort of inspiration from the old arrangers from the Broadway shows, that's what they would do. They'd double. They'd half the time of the melodies. Like, da, 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 dum, bum, bum. They would just double the time to get the
I
urgency.
heard back in that day as well, they were paid per bar.
Yes, they
That's
were.
why a lot
yeah.
of stuff is written in half common time.
Yeah,
and
it's why a lot of
2/4s,
stuff's written in
and
2/2 and
lot of Broadway
2/4.
twos
Yeah.
to make the bars
Yeah.
like half as long and more music.
So that's why I went for that style. Just like I thought, actually, that's perfect for a frappe. But I thought it would have lost the coda feel if I kept the melody the same sort of length. So I think that's a very brief example of how you can ruin repertoire.
I think, David, you might attest to this, but I think in the way we all play our tunes, I think our personality just comes out in them
Definitely.
massively.
The style. Yeah,
You know.
definitely.
Sometimes I'm just feeling in a very sentimental mood, and then that's how the adage comes out.
But even like
And then you are cheeky AF. So that just comes out in all your tunes, like
Yeah.
those little gorgeous little jazzy things you do. That's your
That's
personality.
the jazz training, isn't it? From back in
But
the
your
day.
personality is
Yeah.
that, it's
Cheeky
not
AF.
not sure what you're going to get.
At least
yeah.
we're not married. Imagine that, love. You never know what you're going to get.
But even this recording, 3 of us playing the same tune, I was like, oh, you play like this. Like
Yeah.
it's a discovery for each
Yeah.
other, I
Oh,
think.
that's good.
When you did your stop time, Akiko, in the I Got Rhythm, Matt and I were sitting on the sofa and we were both like, yeah, with the hands in the air.
Yeah, because it's so genius.
It was
Yeah.
wicked.
Stop time is always fun.
So on the socials, why don't you get in contact? Let us know what you play and what you play it for. Or if you're a teacher and you know an original tune, it's like, but somebody plays it in this particular way. And I don't know why, but I really like it. Share it in the comments on social media or let us know and we can give shout outs because I think it's really good to share different bits of repertoire and then everyone can go, actually, I've never thought of that for that. So it's good. Let's call this a little sharing episode. So join us next time for another fantastic episode. We're going to say goodbye from me.
Bye bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.